When you think about the primary characters for superhero genre, at least from our generation of DC and Marvel, it would be Batman would be number one, and then Superman, and then after that, everything else is kind of ancillary characters. And with Marvel, Spider-Man by far and away with a bullet, and then after that, everything else is a distant second. I think to Spider-Man, it'd probably be the Hulk and Iron Man, then the teams, the Avengers and X-Men. But there's not like there's just a handful of like characters that everyone knows of. You could probably name the four big characters, and somebody like these secondary characters. People might know of Wonder Woman, and they probably the thing is I don't think most people even know what the Flash is. But Wonder Woman they know of, but there's still not a whole lot of demand to see Wonder Woman. So Ezra Miller's blamed for box office failure as Variety edits comments to trash the fans, which is, I mean, what else did you expect? So The Flash was such a and the thing is, it wasn't that bad a movie. But it was a spectacular financial failure that even after the movie was made, because of all the issues that came out with the actor getting into trouble, they should have just looked at it and go, oh, let's just remake the entire film with a new main lead, because at least they wouldn't have spent the additional advertising money, which can be over $100 million, and suffer the reputational harm, which is worth much more than the movie they would have put into the movie. And that's what happened with the Batgirl situation, where that was a TV show for 3 seasons, and they had, I forget the girl's, Rose something, this very skinny girl who was the first character, and for some reason she left. I don't know if it was like a Weinstein situation or what. She said she got injured, but I don't know, the story didn't quite add up. And they replaced her, but there was no interest in either character, and there was no interest in the show, because it was right up there with Vagrant Queen. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, because you probably haven't seen these shows. They were so horrible. I mean, you can find them, actually, you can find that on BitChute. They're so horrible, they have to be seen to be believed. Potential for all of them? Yeah, but that's like, I mean, there's potential for everything. It's just you look at the people involved with these shows. When She-Hulk was on TV, I forget what network it was on. I guess it was on Disney, right? There's a scene where they go back behind the scenes, they break the fourth wall, and they show you the actual writer's room, and you look at them and you go, oh, this is why everything fails. You have to get normal people in there. You have to just get normal, fat, white guy, nerd, comic book guys who are in their 60s to write the stories. And if you did that, if you fired everyone at Image, Dark Horse, DC, Marvel, across the board, and you hired, people like Ethan and Myers and whoever, just like normal people, you turn the ship around pretty quickly. It's like, of course they're not going to do that. Even to say the idea to them out loud, I mean, they throw you out the window from that meme. So the director is trying to explain why this movie tanked and saying women didn't see it. If I were him, I would not even be discussing it. Hey, that time I got herpes? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got crabs? Oh, yeah. And I mean, it's like, yeah, my hemorrhoid cream is really kicking in. You just don't talk about those kind of things. So this movie lost $400 million. Let's talk about it and my role in the failure. And it's like movie losing $400 million is more serious than talking about some STD you might have got, because that's affecting the next movie you're making, which is going to be a $1 billion movie. I would have just moved on to the next movie, is what I'm trying to say. Hey, got out of rehab. That was a rough 28 days. But the thing I thought was interesting, because it's connected to this cultural shift of social media is becoming more important to the success of a movie, and you're seeing things like this with Comicsgate and the Fandom Menace, which the mainstream would love to have you believe it's so small it doesn't do anything, but they also know about it, and if they could shut it down, they would. This isn't the old days of where you had movie mag. Remember Wizard magazine? I guess I found out they stopped publishing that. It's kind of sad to see. Where they had movie magazines carefully filtering the news. Now things are being directly discussed online, and they can go viral quickly across platforms, even to the extent of like all these people, this guy himself, who's either crazy or has got some kind of chemical dependency issues going on. They're posting their own stuff online, which is the first thing the smart actors in Hollywood don't do that, but these other actors, So you got 2 things going on. You get the actor Ezra Miller is legitimately insane and also gay. So the problem with that is that's going to exclude 90% of the audience. male or female. This guy's talking about the women didn't turn up for this movie, but if it only did $270 million, nobody turned up for it. There was a situation where he threw some girl down in Iceland, and unfortunately for him, it was on camera. I don't think he really hurt her, but that's just not something you do to a fan. It's not something you do to a woman who's just like playing around with you and wants an autograph or something. It's just not something you do to someone who's not trying to mug you or something. But and then he broke into a hotel in a resort to steal a wallet. It's like he's not. I mean, he's not. That's like he's not really a thief. He's not. He's just crazy. You know, he's just like the voices in his head told him to do that, and he wanted to do it. And he had some young woman in some kind of cult, and that's probably like the wallet thing is probably the least important. And if you were smart, you would have just paid them off. The throwing the girl down and then having a cult are the things that strike people as. You just kind of don't want to have anything to do with them. You can't divorce the artist from the art when you see it. Or maybe throwing the girl down on the ice. It's like if you didn't really hurt her, I don't remember how exactly that played out. But the having the young girl in some kind of cult thing, that was deeply creepy. Anyway, I'm not saying throw people down on the ice, but by the time the third scandal came out, Warner Brothers should have just looked at this and go, "Oh, it's just time to cut our losses. It's very serious to throw away $250 million, but you have to sunk cost investment. You don't throw good money after bad. You don't try to catch a falling knife. Just admit defeat and recast the movie, which means remaking it, spending another $200 million, or just because it's an ancillary character, cancel it entirely and start the whole DC universe fresh, which is what they were saying they were going to do anyway. So it's like the situation with the Black Widow movie, where it's a movie in the past and the character's not going to be in any future movie. Marvel did that when the Marvel did that last Avenger movie, and they delete half the characters. That's freaking bizarre. It's like, what a way to take the wind out of you. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just rewrite the movie so you can continue it on until the audience gets bored with it organically? Anyway, they should have just canceled it and saved their reputational harm with that movie, because they've had a lot of bombing movies. They fired the only guy that people... Oh, God, what happened to her? Yeah, she just dropped off the radar. Nobody wants that chick. I guess she's got a streaming show. But who's the guy they really like? Henry Cavill playing Superman. And Gal Gadot was in Wonder Woman 2, which was freaking horrible. I mean, you can go back it's a 2.5-hour movie, so you're not going to go back and watch it. And count all the scenes in that movie that are anti-white. Patty Jenkins really seems to have some issues with making every single bad character to be as blonde, blue-eyed, as European looking as possible, to the point where they dyed the Spanish actor's hair. What's that guy, the Mandalorian guy, who's, I don't know, he's from Brazil or something. I guess that's not Spanish, but wherever he's from. They dyed his hair blonde because there's, obviously they want you to kind of imagine Trump and just being full of hubris and a total jackass and whatnot. You're only allowed to kind of focus on a Trump clone and not possibly hate some Spanish guy. And Hollywood is telling you how out of touch they are with these characters. Flash, Batgirl, Wonder Woman, Birds of Prey, and Suicide Squad. People are sending a message, or, Marvel did the same thing. They have their own slew of movies too. The Eternals, how well did that do? Or, God, what was that? The Eternals had like a gay couple in there and a child, a male child. I mean, where's the mom? Disney, family-friendly values. So people are sending a message that brown people are good, and vagina power movies are just not what they're interested in. But that's the narrative that mainstream wants to push on us, and it's just not selling tickets, which I kind of say is fantastic to watch. I'm eagerly anticipating the next Assassin's Creed video game with the black guy in Japan or something. It's like, so, Japanese video game. So, Japanese lead hero, male, presume? No. Oh. Why would you have a movie set 500 years ago in Japan with a black guy? Oh, it's because it's this 1 in a million chance that it might be true. If some guy was a retainer, we're going to make him up. This just sounds unbelievably stupid. And then the next Star Wars is coming out with Daisy Ridley, and I hope they both lose money, but they probably won't, unfortunately, because the name recognition for both of those is too good. So people are probably going to go pay to see that, and they'll probably break even, but I doubt they'll be big hits. So this there's kind of this culture war shift that's happening where social media is playing a role. The actors and directors show people are kind of telling themselves. They're showing people how freakish they are and how removed they are from normal society. I mean, if you had a public relations person, you had somebody at Warner Brothers to take him aside and go, yeah, can you dial down the flamboyancy? We're trying to get people into the theater. And in their woke minds, that's just not even consideration. That it's like, why do you think Bros failed? Because it was just too over the top, musical theater gay. So the thing is, they're telling on themselves with this, and there's a Gal Gadot and this guy Ezra did an interview where they're talking about feminism, and he's trying to put words into her mouth, and he seemed like he was just blown out of his mind, and Gal Gadot looked like she wished she was any place other than seated next to this lunatic. What people discuss on social media matters a lot, which is why Facebook, they tried out those artificial intelligence characters, and then they pulled them because it was like, what a dystopian nightmare that would. But they pulled them, but they're also telling you what they have planned for the future to manipulate the population. You might have a few hundred thousand Phantom Menace types who are laughing all over some movie, but if they can come up with millions of AI bots to talk about how great these movies are, and I don't mean like the clunky, obvious ones. Now, like, there's people on Twitter who don't know AI responses where the person will always have a blue check mark. It'll be an AI bot, and what they'll do is it's just taking the original post and using AI to reframe the argument. And once you see it, you just instantly recognize it. But there's people who think that stuff is they don't know what Chat GPT is or using AI at all. But it's clunky. Like, that is just you can go to AI and ask it to summarize a chapter, and you can have it break it down more and more to the point where it's just rephrasing the chapter, which it does very well. But it's clunky. You know what it's doing. But 5 years from now, you're not going to be able to tell AI. They're going to have social media, those Meta, and what a name, Meta, right? They're going to have those Facebook accounts, and they're going to be AI, and it's going to be like on every platform. You're just not going to be able to tell. They're going to have backgrounds, and they're going to have videos and photographs and family histories, and then the people that are in their fictional backgrounds are also going to have social media footprints, and they'll all be connected together. And in 10 years, I don't know, maybe that'll be the final push to get people off. They'll be like you won't even be able to do the shoe on head kind of stuff because a sufficiently advanced AI, and we're talking like 10 years away, is going to be able to pull that off and fool most people. It's not going to be perfect for a long. I did ask Grok when a self-aware AI would develop, and it said maybe 30 years, which was really saying not before 30 years. And it might be more like 300 years, but it's kind of interesting. Anyway, the point is crapping on movies. When Captain Marvel came out with Brie Larson, that was before in between the Avengers movies. So some of the biggest movies in history when adjusted for inflation. I mean, definitely the biggest movies total when not adjusted. And that did really well. But when they made that movie, Disney knew that it was not a good movie, and it didn't attract people to Brie Larson as an actor, and it was not going to get people in a sequel. They knew a sequel was going to bomb. They knew it. They couldn't not make a sequel because it would have been embarrassing. It would have been an admission that people don't like Brie Larson, at least in this role, and they don't like the character, and they're tired of woke, and they're tired of girl power. But they had to make the best thing for them would have been if they could have found an excuse for her not to make the movie. But they made the movie. She got paid, $5-10 million to make a movie that was an absolute failure. But the thing is, if Phantom Menace goes out and talks about movies that are not good, what happens if they have millions of AI bot profiles that are talking about how good they are? Like, is AI going to be that advanced? It feels like Blade Runner is going to be real, but it'll just be like blocking Indian spam accounts. Anyway, so Hollywood is learning that they're just not in they're not just in movies. They're in the public, and they're connected to the audience in many different ways. And the audience is not tolerating degenerates like Ezra once they're made aware of it. You can't have this insane of a guy actually abuse women and then expect women to go watch the movies, or, no offense, somebody at gay levels this high, because men don't want to be him and women are not attracted to him. And the movie was fine. They had Michael Keaton in it. He did a pretty good job. And there's a lot of these movies that are bombing, and they're fine movies, but it's the reality is one thing, but it's the perception of the movie that matters. Like the Solo movie was a solid sci-fi movie. It had great special effects, but people were trying to send a message to Disney that the Disney Daisy Ridley trilogy was an absolute mess. So they said, well, we're not going to go support this other movie. We're going to finish the trilogy and finish off the movies that started in 1977, but now it's over. And that's what I kind of think is going to happen with this next Daisy Ridley movie. I got to say, I'm kind of looking forward to what Hollywood does under the Trump years, because they have this desperate need to virtue signal over the rise of Hugo Boss Trump. But then they also have to start making some money, and they're not doing it. They've had both Warner Brothers and Disney and all these other companies have had a lot of bombing movies. So it'd be tricked. I would love to see one of these companies go out of business. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next episode.